Stephen Wright, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton's office.
David Ryder, obviously, the Tom Cotton's office.
Anybody else? We got some guests over here. We're gonna hold off on y'all. The minutes are included in your folder. You need a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Have motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Financial statements are also in your packet. Need a motion to approve. Have a
Second.
motion. Second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? At this time, I'd like to recommend to the board to elect Senator Charles Roberts of the city of Rising to the CA Board of Directors.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Welcome.
Thank you.
So at this time, I will turn this the meeting over to Patricia, who will do the reports. Brett?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge. In the back, we have our audits. BKD has completed our audit for fiscal year 2021. Please feel free to pick up an audit in the back, or we can email it to you if you wish. The only item that is still in the audit that needs tending to is the WLA monitoring finding for fiscal year 2014 and 2015 that we've been dealing with for a little bit, and it's not going to be removed from the audit until it's resolved. You know, this is the issue where we have submitted to DOL a request for waiver. We are still waiting on that decision. They haven't released that decision yet or even made the decision as far as we know. As soon as we hear something, we will let you know. But until that decision is made, until that item is rectified, it will still remain in our audit. And that's the only item that's in there. Everything else was fine. And later on, the judge will stand before you and ask for a motion to approve the audit. But please feel free to pick one up. They're in the back, and I'll review them at your leisure. Some of you were on a Zoom meeting that we had with Arkansas Economic Development Commission. They have received some funds from the federal government, Economic Development Administration, to do a grant program that will assist you with your sites, your industrial sites there in your communities. What the plan was is that you would, if you had a site in your community and you would like for it to be reviewed and for readiness and to see what you can do to make it more marketable, they are going to use these funds to contract with the consultant to come out and select through those applications and pick at least 20 sites throughout the state of Arkansas to come out and do a review and give you a report on their recommendations as of what will make it more marketable. The applications actually are due tomorrow. It's done online. I've done one. Well, I'm waiting for the rest of the information for one. They're not very difficult. If you have a site on the site selector, the AEDC site selector website, or you are trying to get a site on the AEDC site selector website, then you could be eligible to apply for, to participate in this program. In your packet, you will see this. This gives you information about how to apply and the criteria for it. It doesn't, if you have all the information already, and if you're on the site selector website, you do. It's not very difficult to fill out. You can't, I will let you know if you do go on here, you can't save the information on the application. You don't have to just sit on your screen, because once you close it down, it's gone. Okay. So just what I did was print it off, get all the questions and look at the information, fill it in, and when you're ready to submit, hit submit, because there is no save button, FYI, okay? But they're not due until the end of day tomorrow. So please feel free. We would like for a few of those sites to be in Southeast Arkansas. I think we have a few people here. I know, I think we were doing one for Yellowbend Port, and I think Monticello, Drew County, no? Okay. I'm trying to get everybody who has sites. I'm hoping Jefferson County does a few. But if you have a site in Southeast Arkansas, please feel free and fill this out. When are you gonna have another consultant to come out on the grant dollars to let you know what's going on with your site and how you can make it more marketable? Okay. Okay, every 5 years, the district submits what we call a comprehensive economic development strategy to U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration. That is a lot. It is a requirement of the district. And it's just a strategic plan that we put together for Southeast area to let them know what the goals and objectives for the district are going to be concerning economic development and community development. Ours is due next year. So within the next few months, I will be reaching out to some of you, probably setting up a few meetings to do some conversations with you to set up our goals and objectives for the next 5 years for Southeast Arkansas area. My plan is to have it all put together, and we have one, and it's on our website, so you're more than welcome to look at it. But my plan is for the Southeast Arkansas area to have one ready and to prepare and submit to you at the December board meeting. Okay, so I'm going to be spending majority of this summer reaching out to everybody, chambers of commerce, economic professionals, you judges and mayors, to try to get your take on economic development, community development objectives, plans, what we're looking at and what you would like to look at for the next 5 years for your region. Okay, the end of March, I went to a Delta Regional Authority conference, the Delta Regional Authority Summit in New Orleans. Just so happened it was right at the Final Four, but I didn't attend that one, so okay. They have informed us that they have opened up their funding cycle for this season. DRA funding cycle is open. Projects that are eligible are in economic development, transportation infrastructure, workforce development, basic public infrastructure type projects. If you are interested, and all of the 10 counties in Southeast Arkansas are eligible to apply. If you are interested, please see me as soon as possible. The applications are due June the 5th. You will need a resolution to apply. It should be a resolution in your packet. Okay, so you can use that, and that is an authorizing resolution from your boards to apply for DRA funding. Let's sit down and talk about it and see if the project idea that you have is something that's eligible. Right now, I think I have three or four, 1, 2, 3, communities who have reached out to me, and we are going to be helping them with their applications. So as soon as possible, get with me and let's see about your project's eligibility on these DRA funds. And for more information, you can look in your grants opportunity and go on their website and look over the DRA information to get more information if you want to go that route. Okay. Listen. Oh, and this just FYI, the CN office will be closed tomorrow in observance for Good Friday. And I want to introduce at this time is Danielle. Daniela, please stand. Yes, we have a new employee. Her name is Danielle Nixon, and she is going to be our fiscal specialist 1. She's been with us for how long have you been? A week? Second week. She's doing a good job. Thank you. Okay. All right, I think that's it for me right now. So I'm gonna call on Karen Barlow. Give a report on.
Good morning, everybody, and I hope everyone survived the storms we've been having. First thing I want to talk about was the general assistance grants with the CDC. And right now, they're due tomorrow. If anyone has not got your application in and you're doing it yourself, it's due tomorrow. There's a new form that goes into it, so check with Ricky or Patricia or myself to see what that attachment K is. We have submitted for McGee and Wilmot applications that were awarded. We have procured the engineers. Today, Eudora and I will be going over the bid process for her project. And Deshay is applying for the rural WKMM water. And Clarksdale is applying for their water. Hermitage, we have a project that we should be opening the bids on it for soon. One thing that they had this year is the CDBG CV grant application. And I contacted them the other day, and in the guidelines, it says April 1st. So when I contacted them, they said, no, it's April 15th. So she contacted me the other day and said, it's ongoing. So even if we submit one next week or the week after, we're good until the COVID money's gone. And I know the city of Banks is applying for one for generators, their water system. And I want to talk about mitigation. Since we're in the storm season, it's about that time of year for everybody to get their mitigation plans updated. Currently, I'm working with Bradley and Shay in Lincoln County. We're in the process of getting their plan put together. If there is anyone in the room that is a part of those counties, we need your participation. But if the mitigation plan is approved by FEMA, and then you decide you want to be part of it, you can. They're cutting that off. You can't go in and say, I want to adopt this by resolution. You have to participate in it. And if it's already passed and you decide that you want one, you're going to have to develop your own plan. You're not going to be able to tag onto the county's plan like they were able to do in the past. We have applications in for Ashley Chico for the BRIC FEMA grant, which they will be announcing probably in the early summer. And Cleveland County has been invited to submit an NOI for the COVID money. FEMA has some COVID money right now. So we're going to be applying, and it's a 90-10 when the others are 75-25, but you have to have an invitation through the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management. One other thing I wanted to discuss is the FEMA fire grants. Last year, there was a big issue with the FEMA Go. There's an issue now with SAMS.gov. Tracy's not here to talk to us about it. Everything's going to the new unique identification number.
Yes.
So if you go check your SAMS and make sure it's updated and everything is the way that it should be, because when it's time to apply for the FEMA Assistance to Firefighters grants, that information is transferred over into the FEMA Go. We have talked about doing a workshop. If you're interested in doing a workshop for the firefighters grants, either get with Patricia or myself. We need to discuss if the fire department is current with their NIPRS reports. And the NIPRS reports that we need to submit an application is a one-page document. It's not tons of paper. You need to know how to go in there and pull the correct information because FEMA has access to that. Your SAMS needs to be current, your FEMA Go needs to be current. You need to have more than one person as a contact. When we hit a stump and we can't get the grant to submit, someone on the other end is going to have to do it. So if there's only one person and they are not available at that time, it cannot be submitted. So, like I said, if you're interested in it, get with Patricia, get with me, and we will set up either Zooms or hands-on workshops. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Karen. Ricky?
Good afternoon, everyone. Few things here. I think it was January, in January, 1st February, I emailed out a need assessment to all the cities and counties in the district. It's just a simple form. You can list some of the things community or your area needs. We'll put it on file, and as the grants open up, we can compare the grants to those needs, and if there's something on there that matches up, we'll get a hold of you and see if you still need it and are interested in submitting a grant. I've got a couple things here. Karen covered a lot of the SAMs information, and I'm gonna go over again because I think I've got a couple of things on my list. They have switched to the new unique identity number. If you are currently registered in SAMS, that number will automatically be on your new SAMS registration. And also that new number has no effect on your date or your renewal date. It's going to stay the same. So if you're good through March, April, November, December of next year, you're still good. You'll update it at your usual time. And when you go to SAM sometime, there'll be a screen pop up. You need to put your credit card number in. I think it's $600 charge or something like that. If you get to that, back up. You're in the wrong place because this is a free registration. Get there, don't. A few people fell for that. The homeowners out there probably making pretty good money out of it. Don't fall for it. There is something in your packet about SAMS. Read through that. If you have any questions, concerns, you can get a hold of Karen, or you call our office and talk to Trace. You know, local guru. Also, in that same packet with SAMS, there is a sample letter to request street aid. Street aid is through the state, and it'll prepare some of the local streets. No cost to you. They take care of the survey work, the engineering, bidding, everything. All you've got to do is write about a 2-sentence letter and mail it. That letter is a sample letter, and they take advantage of that if you can. It's a lot simpler and easier. If you've never done this before, your city's going to be they're going to be top priority of this to pay the new streets. The annual audit plan will do in January. There's a few that still haven't got those in. If you haven't, send those to me. If you don't have it, if you will contact me next week, I'll find out where it's at, get it to you, and we can submit it. General assistance, as Karen said, on due today, we've got 3 or 4 due tomorrow. Since we're going to submit it this afternoon, we've got about 4 hanging out of our office. And the other thing, there is a notice, there will be a parks workshop. It will be here in this building. I don't know which room, it's been changed, but it will be in this building, 10 o'clock on the 21st of April. If you are planning on submitting a parks grant in this next cycle, you really need to be here. It'll be a lot of good information, tell you how it's done. We'll be glad to help you with it when the time comes, but they would like for everyone who's interested in the park grant to be there for that meeting.
Thank you, Ricky. Before I call you, Shane, the Parks grant application, I was reviewing the information. For those who've never done it, that's the 50-50 matching grant and the Fun Park grant. Now, usually the Fun Park grant is about 75,000. I think that's what it was. Now it's 100,000. So what you need to do is look over the information If you're interested in the parks grant funding or just want to know if you want to apply for it, come to the meeting or go online. Their applications and all their information is online. You can start reviewing it now. Okay. Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. On the street aid funds, how long does it take to use?
I'm not real sure because we don't deal with them directly. But as I understand it, of course, they've got to go through their process to review the letters and get their list, and prioritize. But as far as I know, it's fairly quick. And there's some mayors in here that use that may give you a better idea of, exactly how long that would take.
What
Yeah.
exactly was the question? I'm just asking because I'm on the committee. I'm on the state street.
How long does it take, after you like to ever do a response?
So you're immediately put on the list when you send it. Well, it goes to the board, and unless somebody has a problem with it, then it'll go on the list. And he is 100% correct. If you haven't had it before, you go to the top of the list. If you've had it before, then you kind of just queued up, and then they'll evaluate each year how much money they get and what the project is. And just kind of get queued.
Okay, so what I'm really concerned about is this gonna take like a year to release some funds, or 6 months to release some funds?
And probably longer. Has your municipality had it before?
That was
I,
before, that was.
so Crossing had it in 2019. And we make sure, every town should make sure that they have it on the list at all times. But it takes a few years to become your target, I would say, once you've had it. But if you haven't had it, you do go to the top of the list. And then it's just based on funds. But I want to say it was, I hate to say a number, but I want to say it was around 80 different towns that were awarded this past year. 2021. So they did a good chunk each year.
But then it's a problem with state aid.
They had some problems with the bids and getting people to bid them. That's the
Well,
problem.
all expect for the state aid. That's all. It's Jersey. Tricia, one other thing I'd like to say about parks, they have a new director at Outdoor Branch, and he is really working with parks to streamline the process and make it better. This round, I think it's a good round.
Thank you, Ricky. Okay, Shane?
All right, update on a few things that, number one, let's talk real quickly about your American Rescue Plan Act, your ARPA funds. As you may know, the final rule has been submitted from the Department of Treasury. It has opened up your opportunity. If your receiving was $10 million or less, they are removing a lot of the hurdles that you have to go through to document, to report, bid out, things like that. It's loosened up also on the restricted items that you could use it for. I'm working with one of our judges and mayors on some of their projects. They're flying things now under what's called income replacement. So you're open now, 10 million or less, to use it for anything that you've got in your budget to replace that income. From fire trucks to equipment to police cars to radios and things like that, it's now open to you. And they've also lessened the reporting documents that you have to have. However, you still want to follow the UGG on this, okay? The Uniform Grant Guidance. You want to make sure that you're going through the bidding process for any projects over your certain dollar amount. You want to make sure if you're under the $25,000 amount, you're getting quotes. You want to document everything like you normally would under your procedures. But the beautiful thing on this, on the new rule or the final rule is 10 million or less, you basically have free reign within your budget on items that your city was going to purchase, things you were going to do, okay? Any questions on ARPA? And with the rains that we've had the last few days, stormwater is now eligible. That means culverts, that means ditching and things like that. Before, they were not eligible. They had to be part of your sewer system. They had to be integrated into your municipal sewer, but now they're not. Okay. All right. Railroad update. Section A, good news. Section A is now open for business. We diverted some resources a few weeks ago to get Section A open so we can begin to move commerce up and down the rail. We are doing that now, and some product has been moving from Lake Village north and south. Good news there. They continue to move at a good pace. For example, right now, Segment A, which is McGee to Lake Village, they completed the final regulating down to milepost number 5. Section B, which is Lake Village to the state line, they completed the main line surfacing from Lake Village all the way to Southside Street. Last week, they installed 537 tons of ballast. This week, from Monday to today, they installed 4,000 tons of ballast on those sections. So everything continues to move at a good pace on the rail. I know we will definitely be excited when both A and B are open to full commerce, and then we can start working on Section C. The next big project that we are looking at is we go out to bid on the bridge work in the next couple of weeks. Okay, it's 2 bridges on Section A and 1 bridge on Section B. So that's the next milestone, so to speak, on the rail project. So any questions or anything on our update on our rail rehab? All right, shifting gears, looking at WIOA. Wanted to let you know that we do have 4 vacancies on our WIOA board. That's 2 business representatives and 2 labor representatives. If you know of someone, or maybe yourself or anything like that, that would like to serve on this board, give me a call. Let me know that you're interested. We have to go through a standing nominating committee, such as a Chamber of Commerce or a constituted board for these recommendations. I've got some applications here if you would like to have one at the end of the meeting to give you some direction on that. Also want to let you know that we are working with Pine Bluff Trucking. They have a corrective action order in place, and they are doing phenomenal in getting some things corrected, straightening out a few things that they had to deal with, from staffing to equipment to hours and things like that. I do know that in the past, there have been some issues there in getting them back up to speed, but this is a 20-year relationship with this partner that the district has had with Pine Bluff Trucking, and we want to see that relationship continue. We want to see them to thrive and succeed, and they do as well. So I just wanted to give you an update that rebuilding that situation is going very, very well. We do have, and we'll have again this year, a WIOA summer youth program for our out of work youth. That begins on June the 6th and will run through July 29th. We will begin the application process on May 6th, and the teachers who have been secured, they will report to our facility on May 30th. So that is going very, very well. And with that, I just want to let you know, and I want to recognize these folks, Angela, Shakita, Kathy, and Gary. Your workforce staff, folks, they're spectacular. They have picked this up. They have got it back in shape very quickly. The success of this program also helps us with our monitoring situation. It goes a long way to stay in compliance and to show the state that our workforce program is headed in the right direction, and under their guidance, it definitely is. So I want to tell them thank you, and folks, you board members, that group, they're the best. They know their stuff, they know how to get it done, and they know how to get it done quickly. Okay. So with that being said, Shakita, Angela, y'all got anything y'all need to add, or anything that I've missed concerning WIOA? Gary, anything on your end? Or
yeah, I have a couple things. Our team, our staff is headed to all of the communities. The mayor's office, the judges, the school districts, and employers. And so we need your assistance. We need employers. We're trying to implement the summer youth program. So we need your participation. If you can take a student during the summer, it's 8-week program this year. We pay the salary, so it's 25 hours a week of labor that we pay for, and you agree to train them and provide them a skill. And there's one day, 4 hours of additional staff that they do classroom training. So if you will notice that our staff is coming out, invite them in. They are there to recruit you as a business and employer for our students. We have 2 target groups. In-school youth is ages 14 to 21. Out-of-school youth is 16 to 24-year-olds. And to qualify for that program, they must be low income or live in a high poverty area, or something that we just discovered recently that was brought to my attention. If your school district has free or reduced lunches at your school district, the students who live in that area automatically meet income guidelines for our program. So they just need a letter from the school saying that they, with their student's name on it, saying that they receive free or reduced lunch. If you are wanting to be an employer, contact Ms. Chiquita. Her number is 536-1971, and you can get your name on the list to be an employer for the summer youth program. And they are suppliers in your packet that looks like this. It gives you some information about the summer program. And I'll go ahead and the number on some of your flyers got cut off. So our number is 870-619-4803. And so that will get you to the workforce center in Pine Bluff. We can transfer your call to any workforce center in our area. Any questions about the summer program?
How many hours are they expected to work?
25 hours per week. And we have an additional 4 hours that they can be paid for, but it'll be classroom training. And so we do need employers, and they can work for the city and judge's office, county, various employers. And so you know your regulations and what age group you can take. So if they're anywhere between 14 and 24, and wherever that falls with your business, just to let us know what your regulations are. We'll try to match the students to your business.
Excellent.
It is 536-97.
And right now, our goal for this program is up to 115 youth. That's the goal that we set for the number of students in our district that we're looking to get into this program is 115. So if you can help out with that, please give Shakita or Gary a call. Gary, go ahead.
One more thing, if you know any students that fit in that age group, let them know it's not just a summer employment program. A lot of people come to our office, I didn't want to do the summer work job, and they think that's all. When they come in, they're signing up for a long-term commitment until they graduate high school or graduate college. They're with us. We're going to provide skills all along the way. So the summer employment, 8 weeks, is not just come in, do that, and leave. You're with us and making a long-term commitment. So keep that in mind as well. Students need to know that.
Thank you, Gary. Any other questions? All right, Director Hargrove, thank you.
Thank you so much, Shane. What I wanted to bring up, I don't know if we've said this, the general assistance applications that are due tomorrow, which you might as well say today, they're going to have, the state is going to have another cycle of that. So if you do have a project and you miss the tomorrow deadline, they're going to do this again. The deadline is October. Okay. So if you do have a project, you still have time this year. According to the state, they're going to try to do this twice a year now, as opposed to just one time a year. Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is referring back to the audit. And I'm recommending that the board accept the audit from BKD. Do I have a motion to that effect? Have a motion to accept. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The nominating committee will meet on May the 11th, 2022, to recommend the list of board of officers filling the board vacancies. The present nominating committee members are myself, Mayor James Black, Judge Jim Hudson, Mayor Denise Pennington, Judge Melody Spears, Judge Richard Tyndall, Judge Robert Aiken, Judge Randy Pruitt, Mayor Shirley Washington, and Mayor Paul Carter. So again, we'll be meeting on May the 11th. Executive and Finance, next, the Executive Finance Committees will meet on, also on May 11th to discuss the next fiscal year budget. The current committees are myself, Judge Robert Aiken, Judge Randy Pruitt, Judge Richard Tyndall, Mayor Shirley Washington, Mayor Jeff Al Young, and Mayor Jodan Yee. Is there any other business? All right, if there's any representatives, I think they've already introduced themselves. The unemployment statistics are included in your board folders. The next meeting of the CED board will be June 9th, 2022 in Pine Bluff. If there's no further business, I need a motion to adjourn.
Yes, sir.
Any further business? If not, I need a motion to adjourn. We have a motion, second. All in favor say aye. Please stick around for the solid waste board meeting.
to order. We ready? I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes, solid waste report. Yep. Okay, there we go. Okay. Need a motion and a second to approve the financial statements, mate. So moved. There you go. Next, we have the director's report. All right, real quick, let's review a couple of items on the report. On e-waste. Excuse me, regular pickups for e-waste are in place. If you have e-waste needs, I'm asking that you call me, okay? Because I set up the route, set up the schedule, work with the transporter. So if you have any e-waste in your community that needs to be picked up, just call me at the office and I will get it scheduled, okay? Now, real quick on the e-waste. About 3 months ago, I gave Scott Recycling a call to set up a route. The individual that I worked through, her name is Brittany. She set up all of my routes. When I set everything up through Brittany, I get a phone call 3 days later from her that they are no longer operating in the state of Arkansas. Okay, just follow me on this. We're no longer operating in the state of Arkansas. We've had to close down the facility in Pine Bluff. She said, you're not the only one. We've shut down one in Atlanta. We shut down one in Chattanooga. So I'm sorry, we're no longer servicing Arkansas. And I said, Brittany, how come I didn't receive a call from Dan Scott on this situation? She said, Dan was supposed to call you, so he had me call you instead. I said, so you're telling me you're done? She said, we're done. No problem. Your e-waste still has to get picked up. I called ESCO. Now remember, at that time, there's only 2 players in the state of Arkansas, ESCO and Scott Recycling. I called ESCO. Okay. ESCO said, yeah, we'll take care of it, but here's what it's going to cost you. I get a call back from Dan about a week later. Shane, hadn't heard from you. When can I come pick your stuff up? And I said, Dan, you got to be kidding. I said, this is what happened. There was a few choice words exchanged, and friends, Dan and I, that's a great relationship. He said, I'll call you right back. A few hours later, Mr. Scott calls me. He said, Brittany is no longer with the company. You're not the only one she did this to. Please forgive us. How can we fix the issue? So basically what happened was they had an employee that took it upon themselves to call certain accounts and cancel services. Okay, that's why we went with ESCO for just a little bit. But Scott Recycling is still picking up in Arkansas. They're running routes. They are much more economical than ESCO, unfortunately. They are. So Scott Recycling is going to be making a run through the district next week. They're going to be picking up in all of our locations. Some of you may have already received the phone call. That's great. Stick with them. If you have anything that needs to be picked up, please give me a call. Okay. If they hear from any of you guys, they're going to be like, okay, who are you with? What are you, et cetera, et cetera. So give me a call. We'll get your e-waste taken care of. No issues there. All right. The district's first quarter TAP report has been submitted to DEQ. We're waiting for the disbursement. So we've got the last quarter in, or this past quarter turned in. Everything was good with that situation. I met with the folks from Get Rid of It. We are monitoring, as always, any kind of fuel surcharge increases and things like that. Given the economical situations we're dealing with, everything is good there. They will let me know if anything comes up on that end, and we will handle it accordingly. Right now, our approved tire rate for the district has stayed the same. No changes in that, okay? On recycling, your grant monies are still available. Okay, several have not called about it, turning in a grant application or anything like that. Whenever you're ready, give me a call and we can discuss the monies that are available. Hopefully in the next, by October, November of this year, we will receive the next round of money that'll be available for 2023. So everything is still on par on your recycling grant monies. Legislatively, this is where things are getting interesting. Okay? As you may well know, over the last 4 years, there has been legislative efforts to consolidate, to regulate even further solid waste districts and tire districts. That is coming. We basically, in this proposal from DEQ to bring solid waste districts out from under the umbrella of DEQ and have them their own entity under a different board, is coming to fruition. We have been given 9 months to come up with a plan. If we don't have our own plan, not talking about Southeast, I'm talking about the 19 solid waste directors collectively, one will be given to us. Okay? So we are working diligently with Bill Stovall. He is the representative for the solid waste districts. WSG is the group. We are working with them to develop this legislation, to develop the board, to bring us out from under the umbrella of DEQ. That will not impact the disbursements. It will not impact the monies. All of that's going to go through DF&A. DEQ is basically saying, we don't want you a part of us anymore. Go find you another house to live in. Okay? So that's where we're at legislatively. Now, what does that mean also for like tires, for example? Right now, we are dealing with a financial shortage when it comes to our tire account. This is statewide. I was at Department of Energy and Environment Monday, Tuesday, 2 days in a row, dealing with this issue. We have a business plan that we've submitted to DEQ that runs our tire program. We have the leanest business plan in the state. Transportation, processing. We're not the problem. Okay? We're one of the ones that have been set aside to say, continue to operate, you're fine. Here's where the problem and the shortages come in, so you'll know. We do have, of the 11 tire districts, some single county districts that have put in salaries, they put in vehicle allowances, they put in benefits, they put in raises, all of that into their tire plan. What that does is it diminishes the pool of money available to fund transportation and processing. Are you tracking with me? Okay. So what we did this week was we called those counties out and we said, no more. If you're not doing processing and transportation, if you're not just running a program, you've got to justify to the governor's office the salaries, the benefits, the trucks, the fuel allowances, all of that stuff. So the department has directed those districts to put together a supplemental plan to present to the governor for approval in order for them to get their money. Right? The theory is too from DEQ, and it makes sense with the economy the way it is. People aren't buying tires like they were a couple of years ago or 3 years ago. You know, tires are not a priority right now. Well, if you don't have the tire sales, you don't have the money going into the fund, so they're going to lean some districts out. And I am proud to say that with our business plan, we are not facing that. Okay, so we're good, but there is a battle going on that unfortunately we still have to knuckle up and deal with because we're in that boat. All right. Okay. Any questions from my report on e-waste, tires, recycling, or some legislative things? Good. All right. Thank y'all. Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We'll move on to old business if there's any. None. Okay, in new business. First, we have a change order from Ashley County Recycling Grant. In your package, need a motion second to approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Next, we have a motion and a second to accept the annual audit for solid waste.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Nick, I'll let you do this, okay? You've been leading man on this. Here you go. Yep. This is all, it's your baby.
That's my baby, huh?
You've been on the front, working through, you know.
Several months back, I received a phone call from the Department of Energy concerning a group that was looking to locate a waste-to-energy facility for electric generation in the state of Arkansas. And they asked, the Department of Energy asked, if we would be interested in Southeast putting something like this in. So I had a meeting at the Capitol Hotel the next day, met with the group, and we discussed how it would operate. We discussed basically what they would need from Southeast, a location and a fuel source. The fuel source being municipal solid waste, C&D, tires, agricultural, wood, a lot of different conglomerates coming together to give them their fuel source. It comes to a translation of somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 tons per day. That would be your baseline. Anything above would be great. But it's a 500 ton per day facility producing approximately 18 megawatts, 15 megawatts of power. So getting this information, I put together a profile of the waste stream that we produce in Southeast Arkansas. I presented that profile to the group. The profile was acceptable. And the next thing was a location. Judge Ball contacted me long before this project saying, Shane, we got to do something with our landfill. And as you know, anybody that's been in the landfill business or around the landfill business, the cost of running a landfill, whether it's a class 4 or a class 1, continues to rise. If you have a population base like Southeast Arkansas has, that has decreasing rooftops, you do not have the customer base that is growing to pass on the growing cost of operating a landfill. You can't dilute the cost. So Judge says, help me get out of this business. And it's a smart move to get out of this business. So I approached Judge Mac Ball about using his 40-acre facility to house this waste-to-energy facility. We discussed it. It was suitable. It was viable. And the other factor that made this so attractive was two other things. Number one, our rail line runs north and south on the border of this property. Secondly, Highway 65 runs north and south of the border of this property. So everything come together with it. We had several meetings along the way, site visits, meetings with the surrounding counties to Chico, discussing the waste stream, discussing all the aspects, working with the Department of Energy, the Department of Environment, the Governor's Office, DFNA, a lot of meetings. And I couldn't tell you how many, I've lost count between today and the time that we were introduced. And it come together. So much so that they have agreed to locate their facility in Chico County on the current existing footprint of the Chico County landfill, creating approximately 50 jobs, but also providing an income source to the district, to the county, and all the other counties making up the district. We'll discuss that down the road. But this is a phenomenal opportunity for the state of Arkansas, for Southeast, because we get to host the first, the only waste-to-energy facility in the South. There's not one in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and we're going to beat Missouri to theirs. We will have the only one. Southeast Arkansas will be the home to the only waste-to-energy plant that corporations that are looking for a zero landfill option to help with their carbon credits, you'll have it right here in Southeast Arkansas. So Caterpillar, Toyota, whomever it may be, when they're looking to locate and they say, hey, can you help us with a zero landfill option? Because that helps us with our credit rating with the government. It helps us with our carbon credits with the government. Southeast Arkansas can hold your hand up and say, we can, because we have the only one in the state. Okay? So I developed this relationship with the gentleman from MD Power. And about 3 weeks ago, I took a delegation up to Kentucky. They have a facility in Inez, which is on the eastern border of Kentucky and West Virginia. We toured this facility, Judge McBall, Judge Hudson, Judge Aiken, State Senator Ben Gilmore, State Representative Howard Beatty, and Justice of the Peace Terry McCullough. Did I miss anybody? We went up there, toured the facility. I wanted them to lay eyes on all the videos that I have been watching. And I think Judge Aiken may have said it best when we were back on the plane is, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Technology-wise, operational-wise, and what they do. It is a gasification waste-to-energy facility. They don't burn. It's not an incinerator. They take every kind and all kinds of waste, gasify it, and generate electricity. So with that being said, I want to introduce to you at this time, gentlemen, if y'all would please come up. Bill Rickles, Jordan Boswell, and the founder, owner of MDGS, Mr. Mark Boswell. So, folks, if y'all would make this group welcome. Bill to give a brief presentation. PowerPoint kind of showed you what this technology is about. MD Power has submitted a letter of intent to construct. That letter of intent is in your packet. That is what we will be, or what is being brought before you today after their presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to these gentlemen, let them have it, and then when we're done, we'll deal with the letter of intent.
Thank you, Shane. Shane's a little hard to follow, but I'll try. Thank y'all for letting us be here today. I'm here to present to you the latest technology in renewable energy. And what I mean by that, if we take your everyday household trash, or MSW, it's a technical term, municipal solid waste, and instead of burying that trash in a landfill, we put it through our process and recycle it. What happens is that trash goes into a rotary kiln at a low heat. The organics in that trash will break down into their smallest particle, which is a gas called syngas or synthetic gas. This gas is then used in a boiler to create steam. That steam is then used in a turbine generator to produce electricity. That electricity is sold to the grid. And that profit from selling out electricity to the grid is what helps us to make us profitable and sustainable. What's left out of that trash are all reusable, recyclable products, such as a product called mineral frit. It's basically what's left over from the organics in our glass, porcelain, and ceramics. These are non-toxic products. They can be used in several different ways, such as an additive in asphalt or additives into cement products. Then we have our ferrous and our non-ferrous metals. They come out of our system. They're clean, they're sterile, and can be sold as a top-grade recyclable product. Then we have two other products from this process, which is a bottom ash from our boiler and a fly ash from our bag house. And these are also non-toxic and are a desirable product in cement. This worked perfect there. So these are just a few of our team members. They're standing in front of our plant that's located in Inez, Kentucky. This was a couple of years ago, back in the construction phase. These three gentlemen, of course, is Mark Boswell, the president of MDGS, is in the middle. The man to Mark's left is Frank May. Frank is the inventor of this technology, and the guy to Mark's right is John Burke. He's Frank's counterpart. As you can see, This photo was taken April 2017, and what they're standing in front of is the original prototype plant that they built. Frank and John's been working on this technology for over 20 years. Back in the early 2000s, they built a prototype plant. They did about 15 years worth of research and development on it, proved that this technology works. They tore it down, refurbished some of the original equipment, added in some new equipment, also added in automation controls to give us what we have today on that same location, which is a fully functional 440 ton per day renewable energy plant. This plant can be built on 3 to 5 acres of ground, so you can see it's a relatively small footprint. This is just a simple layout of the plant. We have a tipping floor. It's where we bring the trash in. Trash goes into the process. The trash goes into the process and goes into the gasifier. That's what we call the rotary kiln. We call it the gasifier because that's what's happening inside that kiln is the trash is being gasified. The trash goes into the gasifier. All of our recyclables come out the end of the gasifier. Our gas that we produce goes into the boiler, creates the steam. Steam goes into the turbine generator. We sell that electricity to the grid. There's 3 paths to our process. The first path is the waste stream. So from the scale house to 100% recyclables, there is no landfill necessary. We bring the trash in, we weigh it at the scale house. This is where we charge a tipping fee. This tipping fee is what helps them make us sustainable and profitable. We also weigh our recyclables on the way out. So we know how many tons of recyclables that we're sending out to be sold. So this is a picture of the gasifier, this round tube looking thing here. It's 120 foot long, 10 foot in diameter. It's built on a 4-degree slope, so as it turns, that trash works its way down that gasifier. Also, it turns at about 2 RPM. That's on a variable speed drive, so it can speed up or slow down depending on the conditions inside the gasifier. Once we upon initial startup of the plant, we have to heat this gasifier up, get it up to temperature before we start to add in the trash. So we'll need an outside fuel source to do that. So we'll use diesel, propane, natural gas, whatever's available in that area, the area that we're working in, to heat the gasifier up. It takes about 4 to 6 hours to get it up to temperature. Once it's up to temperature, we can start to add in the trash. Then we can shut that outside fuel source off and it's no longer necessary. Our trash will generate enough heat to sustain our process. So it's self-sustainable. And in this process of gasification, they have what we call the 3 T's. You have time, turbulence, and temperature for gasification to work properly. So it takes about 45 minutes to an hour, give or take a few, for that trash to reach one end of the other to the gasifier. So that's our time. The gasifier has 3 zones in it. The first zone is the heating and drying zone. Second zone is the gasification zone. The third zone volumizes that syngas and also cools our byproducts. This is a picture of inside that gasifier. You can see this material here, that's the refractory, but these spiral things inside there, those are called flights. It's a really important part of the operation. Those flights, as that gasifier is turning, it's picking that trash up, it's dropping it down, it's picking it up, it's dropping it down. This is creating that turbulence that we need for the 3 T's. So inside that first zone, it reaches approximately 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This heats and dries the trash and prepares it to be gasified. The second zone, the gasification zone, all organics are reduced to syngas. Reaches about 850 to 1100 degrees inside that zone. This gasifies the organics and leaves all the organics over. Then the third zone, we add in a little bit of fresh air. What this does is it pushes that gas back towards the front of the gasifier. This assists in the reverse flow and also cools the byproducts before they exit the gasifier. Now at this point, we have what's coming out at the end of that gasifier is the mineral frit and the non-ferrous and ferrous metals. We'll scoop those metals up, those products up, and put them across this screen right here, this grizzly bar. The larger metals will fall back into the floor. We scoop those up, and then we'll put them in our trailer to send off to be recycled. Once it's full, we'll send it off to be recycled. And all the smaller stuff goes through the screen and then goes throughout the rest of the process. These are a few of our expelled recyclables after they've gone through the gasifier. So we have a Coke can, hose clamp, ball of aluminum foil, some electrical wire, and a washer. What intrigues me the most is this electrical wire here. You can't really see it probably from where you're sitting, but that electrical wire is fully intact. That's really important because what it means is this process doesn't get hot enough to melt those metals down. In a process such as incineration, they're running around 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to melt these metals. What happens is that melted metal contaminates the byproducts. And when you do that, you either get a low resale on those byproducts or a no resale on the byproducts. Also, with the low temperatures, we're not melting these metals. We're not creating any metal oxides. So it helps to keep the emissions low. So then our second path is the emissions. From the gasifier to the stack, we release clean, cooled exhaust into the atmosphere. Our system is a reverse flow system. What that means is that as that trash is working its way down that gasifier, the syngas is making its way back up towards the front. We add in a controlled amount of fresh air here at the exit point of the gasifier. That air pushes that gas back toward the front. But also it volumizes the syngas and raises the temperature of it. By the time it gets up to the exit point, up here towards the front of the gasifier, it's reached about 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. But as it comes out of the gasifier, it goes into a hood. Inside that hood is a flame. This is the only flame in the entire process. It ignites the gas before it goes into the boiler. And with our patented technology, that gas will reach about 4,200 degrees Fahrenheit. But not only destroys the syngas, but also 95% of the toxins and dioxins that's in that airstream. Remaining flue gas goes from the boiler into a mist scrubber. What that is, inside this scrubber, that airstream is sprayed with a mist of activated carbon and a lime slurry. And removes the acidic gases and the heavy metals out of the airstream. It also cools that airstream down before it goes to the next section, which is the bag house. When it leaves the boiler, it's at about 600 degrees Fahrenheit. It goes inside the scrubber, gets sprayed with mist, that drops that down below 300 degrees. This is important because that rapid cooling doesn't allow dioxins to reform in that gas stream. So that also helps us to keep the emissions low. Then from there, the gas goes into a bag house. Bag house is just a series of filters that airstream flows across, and those filters will pull out any small particulates that's left in the airstream. This is where we get a 2% fly ash. So it's 2% of the total daily tonnage. Then from there, the exhaust travels from the bag house to the stack. Stack releases the clean, cool exhaust into the atmosphere. We have what you call a SIM system, constant emission monitoring system, that monitors that gas to ensure that we meet or exceed all EPA standards. And then the third path is the electricity. So from the gasifier to the turbine generator, we produce up to 776 kilowatts an hour per ton of trash. Our boiler creates 7,000 pounds of steam per ton of trash. That steam reaches a temperature of about 750 degrees Fahrenheit and a PSI of about 750. That PSI is what turns your turbine generator to produce the electricity. And the last thing I want to point out is that our plant only has a 10% parasitic load. So what that means is it only takes 10% of the electricity that we generate to run our operation. The other 90% can be sold to the grid. Anybody have any questions?
How many of these plants in existence?
We have one in Kentucky. So this one here would be the second one.
Okay, so this is patented, right?
Yes, sir.
So has this technology was taken to Washington, y'all have, any?
But do you know how hard it is to crawl into Washington? Sir, we've taken a lot of places. It's probably in the hands of a few people, just maybe not the right people to push this through. We'd love to get it.
Maybe I need to hire some lobbyists, that this technology would be.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
I will say this, Judge, so y'all will know, since I've been working with these gentlemen, it's getting national attention now, okay? Major solid waste companies like Waste Management, Republic Services, they are listening and watching what we are doing. And when we set the standard, the others will follow. So to your point, I feel, and this is rather selfish of me for the district, they're watching to see what we do. Okay? Kentucky is working and it's functioning, but they're really watching to see what we do down here, because what I feel is we are the next step in evolution in this technology to show it in this particular setting, a rural setting, and even though the part of Kentucky was rural, but to have that constant waste stream coming in, constant generation, 24/7, up and running, we're going to prove that it works. And these gentlemen have already lined up meetings on a national level with these major companies, because they're saying, we want to see it. We want this. We just want to see it working in Southeast. And also there's other parts of Arkansas that's watching us as well to say, if it works, we want it up here. Okay. Is that a question for me or Mr. Rickles?
Either or both, I guess. My main question, in looking at the letter of intent, is something that was introduced in February, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, at this point, and I realize it's our trash that makes us attractive. And that's a good thing. What else is being asked? What other, I mean, is there anything else the company is asking of the district other than access to our household?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Chico County is providing the property, and in return, Chico County will receive $1 per ton for the use of their property. This is a 30-year commitment from MD Power for this facility. They will receive that money as a land lease agreement. That contract is in place, ready to go. The county attorney, the county judge have approved the language. We will have a public hearing on May the 16th, and then the quorum court will review a resolution and the land lease agreement on May 17th to turn this property over to MD Power at an agreed upon time between Chico County and MD Power. This board will reconvene on June the 9th to review the certificate of need that is in process right now per state law under Title 8. So far on the certificate of need, PMI Engineering has taken the lead on that to conduct the research in the background. We've gotten clearance from the Game and Fish, Historical Preservation, Corps of Engineers. DEQ has it in front of them. They are signing off. Department of Energy has signed off. So yes, everything is.
Checklist that you have to do.
And trust me, it's been a long checklist. So coming back real quick, I know you're interested in this. On June the 9th, this board will also have in front of you a waste agreement, okay? MD Power is offering an economic incentive to the counties of the Southeast Arkansas Economic Development District in the form of our waste assessment fee, which is $1.25 per ton for anything that crosses their scales. And then for the counties that participate, will also receive an additional $3.75 per ton back to your respective county for any waste you send from your county to this facility. And those funds are unencumbered. So what does that mean for you as county judges? If you want to fund your road department with this money or your solid waste department, all you've got to do is pass an ordinance directing those funds to that direction. Okay, all of this is in an agreement that's been in place as far as the language is written. I just have certain steps that I have to abide by legally under Title 8 before it comes to this board, but it will come before you on June the 9th. Other thing, little nugget for you. Our agreement that we got on our rail line, Chico County, and we're just about done with this, is agreed to lease 7.22 acres of property so we can build a rail spur on this facility property to feed this facility. And according to our railroad agreement, that is a point of termination for goods, and the district will receive 15% of the value of that rail car into your railroad fund. So it increases economic streams for the district, and it increases economic streams for the counties that participate. Yes, ma'am. You had a question, Mayor?
Well, my question was, Judge Robinson started out. This is my first time hearing this, and I was a big announcement, but there are 10 counties in the district. Okay, you're placed with in Chico County. Okay, so it's what I'm hearing, the impact of this will be on all the other counties, it's already up at number 5 primarily. Well, what is the impact on the benefits for all the 10 counties? Here's just 10 counties.
Let's use Jefferson County. Let's use the city of Pine Bluff for example. It puts the city and the county of Jefferson and Pine Bluff in an economic advantage now when you go out and you want to start recruiting industry, and that industry says, what do we do with our waste? We have a zero landfill option now for you to get rid of your waste, which helps you with your credit rating and your carbon credits. That facility is located in Southeast Arkansas, so it makes Jefferson County, Pine Bluff, Star City, it makes all of our locations that much more attractive to industry that is seeking that type of resource.
How do we get our waste there?
Well, we can do it a number of ways. We can truck it, we can put it on rail, or you can go through your current waste haul. There, and I know, okay, I know what you, Mayor, here's your situation. Jefferson County is in a contract agreement with Waste Management. Jefferson County Landfill is under a 99-year contract. Jefferson County and the city of Pine Bluff is also under a franchise agreement. When this come before us, we took all of those factors into consideration. And to these gentlemen's credit, they have made inroads in the Waste Management where Waste Management says, you know what, we may be able to work with that facility and help Pine Bluff and Jefferson County out in this situation. So you're not held captive by that waste stream not being able to be utilized in this facility. Waste Management is open to some alternatives. Yes, ma'am.
One more question. It says 500 tons per day is what you need in household waste to run facility to optimum capacity. I'm guessing, okay. So to kind of help all of us understand and respecting the question from the mayor here, how many tons of waste per day is the Southeast District producing?
The Southeast District does not produce 500 tons a day. We're close. But however, there has been relationships and agreements made with surrounding areas, not just within the state, but outside to supply this facility. Here's the benefit to you folks, 10 counties. Whatever comes into this facility, $3.75 per ton. Okay, so there is an economic advantage built into that. Here's the other situation that this thing provides for you folks. $45 a ton plus tax is your tipping fee. It's reviewed every 5 years per the Solid Waste Management Act. In other words, you know for 5 years, my community is going to pay $45 per ton plus tax to get rid of our waste. You're not going to be held hostage by any other independent landfill that could raise rates on you and your operation without notice. Because private companies do not have to post notice on an increase in tipping fees. They don't. So those of you that are operating your own trash pickup, you know every 5 years, 4 or 5 years, my rate is set. Because the worst thing we can do is come back to our residents and say, hey, I got to increase your trash rate of $5 a month. You'll be living in my garage if that happens, right? Okay, all right, so those are the next steps we're at. We are in the certificate of need process right now, and we had to do this simply because of the time frame. Certificates of needs are long, drawn-out process. So the letter of intent that is before you is a retroactive vote. Yes, you're correct in the date that we received it, because when I received it, in order for us to grab this facility and get a hold of it and not lose it, I initiated PMI to begin their historical research to craft the certificate of need. Okay, and I took it before our chairman, I took it before the executive committee, so we went through the proper actions to get everything done. I did not sidestep any of our rules and regulations as a district. Okay, so any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You're still needing to adhere to, do not disclose.
I'll leave that to these gentlemen. As far as I'm concerned, after today's vote, if this board approves the letter of intent, I ask you to go back and tell your constituents, you are elected officials. You know how to use this information and use it wisely. But I say you use it smartly, okay?
And I know a guy with a video.
There you go. All right? But
Put it on me.
listen, I worked for 10 counties. You guys called me and equipped me to serve you. What I'm doing through this partnership with MD Power is not for one particular county or one particular community. This is for Southeast Arkansas. Because I can assure you this, as our rail comes into place, begins to see traffic, when this facility comes into place, and they are already working on some other partnerships for other ventures that are looking at our area. I am really hoping, with the help of State Senator Ben Gilmore, Representative Beatty, and we've already been with AEDC and DFNA and the governor's office, it's time for y'all to start looking at us down here instead of a couple of other parts of the state. I'm just being honest with that, right?
I think that we need to, be very forward-thinking, very proactive in helping all of the communities and counties be prepared for that industrial growth. Because right now, our industrial park out there, on industrial park is about full. So we're looking at other land. So I had to run out a minute ago to see if that EPA grant that y'all say is ready tomorrow, that's supposed to be, we're ready to submit for Pine Bluff. But so we're submitting today. But some communities, smaller communities, they're poised for this growth. They're not prepared for this growth. So I think all of us need to come together to get ready for this growth. Let's get ready for versatile openings in Southeast Arkansas.
Yes, ma'am. Very. Yes, sir.
How could this project impact our recycling tire program?
Well, what it will do is this facility does receive tires. And according to their technology, they can process up to 15% in the mixture of the 500 tons. Okay, so what that means for us is it will process and receive all of the tires generated within the district. And with that being said, we have also now caught the attention of the governor's office to deal with their statewide tire program. Because this facility can take care of a couple of other districts in addition to ours. So what was a major albatross in our state as it pertains to tires, agricultural all the way down to passenger car, this will be the first facility in the state that will be able to process total tires completely and develop a 100% recyclable product when on the steel beam and things like that.
So what you said was the projection date, start date of this operation?
I leave that to these gentlemen. I don't know well, here's the time frame that we're dealing with right now. May the 16th we will have a public hearing at the Chico County Courthouse on the certificate of need. On May the 17th, the next day at 9 a.m., Judge Ball will convene his full court where they will entertain a resolution and a land lease agreement that will put the county in an agreement to lease the 40-acre Chico County Class 4 landfill to MD Power. 30 days after that, it is ratified. It's done. Signed, sealed, delivered. Judge Ball, MD Power will then set a date for the keys to be handed over. That's where I'm kind of take a step back, and now it's in the MD Power's hands. I do know, based upon conversations with them, they are looking at a turnaround time once construction starts, anywhere between 14 and 18 months. My priority right now, once this board, if this board so chooses to approve everything, I've got to get a rail spur built, because they want to utilize the rail spur to bring in the elements of this facility that will be constructed. So between the governor's office and DF&A, they hear from me about once a week on that funding. And it's getting to the point where, like, Shane's on the phone. Who wants to talk to you? Yes, ma'am.
Another question for the company that I would have is, do you have any type of memorandum of understanding with the utility for putting the power on the grid?
Mark, you want to?
We met with the state department and property that we had, much for the Bitcoin. So we're running the cryptocurrency, and basically we would sell electricity to them. So we would not need, to work with that, but we would always work with the grid also, just in case of emergencies and stuff like that, that they would need it. So
you already have kind of a MOU with the cryptocurrency money.
That data centers, data center brings down, but data center for about 10 megawatts. So we're looking at both.
What about manufacturing? What about manufacturing?
Yeah, manufacturing, actually have, that's just a very. Creates, definitely create that.
It's exciting to see the potential, because who would have ever thought Southeast Arkansas, the 10 county districts of Southeast Arkansas, would be a technology hub. You know, Bitcoin, data centers, programming, computers, whatever the case may be. This could very well be the domino that we knock over first that causes the others to fall in place. Okay? Yes, sir.
With the river right there, it's very important that we would open up manufacturing, create the packages that we use to sell around the world. We actually are working in Vietnam, Ghana right now, we're working in India, a lot of different places. So if we created the manufacturing here, put it on the river, and shipping and stuff. So that's also something that we're looking for.
Yes, sir.
So I understand the size of the 500 tons a month. I mean, okay, excuse me. So the place in Kentucky is rural, correct? How in the world are you able to generate 446 tons a day?
It's
amazing.
Shane and them have seen this plant, and they're just coming out of commissioning into their regular operation, and they're scaling up as we speak.
Right.
But it's been tough because they originally, the inventor of this technology is in coal business.
Right.
And this piece of property where he built that plant is in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But that's where he wanted to do his research and development.
Gotcha.
And so it's a struggle there a little bit. They do have some opportunities in place as we're scaling up, more trash is coming.
Right, one thing is that specific waste.
Yeah.
You know, that's the biggest thing. There's a lot of factories that want to get rid of specific waste. They bring it there and say, can you get rid of it? Like, for instance, out of the Shenandoah Valley, they actually bring in big waste. It was like, this is a big problem for us in our area. Can you see what you can do with it? It actually come out as topsoil.
Right.
You know, so, you know, a lot of different things there with that. Research.
You know, there's transportation costs, does, you know, it's fairly steep.
Well, let's go back to the other factories and these special waste or particular waste. I'll give you an example, and this is a prime example, is you have like 3M and other companies that produce baby wipes or diapers or whatever. When those things are out of date and they're beyond and they have to be disposed of, the companies are actually penalized if they landfill them. So they will send them to facilities like this by the truckloads. And it helps them with their credit rating and their carbon credits. So this facility now opens up the state of Arkansas to all of these different types of manufacturers that they now have an access source for proper disposal or in disposal of their out-of-date expired materials.
Okay.
So there's so many avenues that we, and I know these gentlemen have, that we still can access to get that tonnage.
Question,
Yes, ma'am.
what about our timber byproducts? Can we, I just talked to one of our hardwood flooring people yesterday, day before yesterday, and they've got chips that they need to get out. Will they take that?
Yes.
On chips, yes.
Does
On
it have to
certain
be
kind-
hardwood
On
or pine?
sawdust, no.
It doesn't
It
matter
doesn't
what it
matter
is?
what, as long as it's chipped. It just can't be sawdust.
Look,
I know that's a big thing here, sawdust, but, we're actually using that plant there to actually look at the pyrolysis factory, that we can actually, take that sawdust and get rid of it. Because sawdust is probably not good for a lot of places.
Okay.
But, so we're looking at a pyrolysis factory. And pyrolysis is a technology that basically has no oxygen to it at all. So basically what that makes is biochar and it makes biodiesel. Right, so out of that sawdust. But in this system, sawdust is just so fine, it goes really fast and it can apply that forward.
Unless we mix that sawdust with something else where it's not in the airstream. So like sawdust is so fine, it gets carried away in the airstream and causes problems inside of our equipment. But the feasibility of those chips, are we going to replace $45 a ton of trash with those chips? So you got to think about the feasibility of it. Don't go promising somebody we can do that without finding a way
Right.
to be able to make it economically sustainable.
We will explore all waste options when this facility is being constructed. And what I'm waiting on next, in addition to the rail spur, is once I get a date that they're going to put a shovel in the dirt, my next responsibility is to get with each one of you and for you to tell me you need to go talk to A, B, C, and D. I will go talk to A, B, C, and D. I will find out what their waste stream is. I will take that waste stream back to the guys at MD Power. We will determine if that waste stream is viable. If so, how much of it. That way we can go ahead, by the time they're turning dirt, before they have the first truck come across the scale, we know what other accesses of waste streams we have and what percentages we'll be able to take. Does that make sense? So that gives you guys, as our elected officials, just kind of, hold up, pull the reins back just a little bit. Let's get a couple more things done. And then when I call you to say, who do I need to go talk to? That's when I'll go talk to the flooring company to see what they've got.
And what about poultry byproducts? I know you said pig byproduct. Did I hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
So would poultry byproduct in a processing plant, so to speak, also be able to go there?
What we will do is, we will work out a system where we can take that to our plant in Kentucky and run it and see what happens, That way we can have some data that would really, help everybody.
Okay.
Remember, we're also using that Kentucky plant as, always R&D. we want to make sure that we find everything we can to help every state. So, a lot of times, like in Vietnam or somewhere like that, the trash is 80% wet moisture. So we have to be able to wet that down at our place and get rid of that moisture in the field. So we're always going to be working.
Guys, I know we can stay here, we can do a lot of Q&A for a long time, but we got a few more items that we need to get to. So let's do this. Let's move on to the letter of intent and the two other items that we have. If you have any questions, guys, Monday, give me a call. I'll visit with you about this, come see you, whatever the case may be. Just know that this is an unprecedented, exciting opportunity for Southeast Arkansas.
I make a motion that we accept the letter of intent.
Second. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? None. Okay. Next is, review the request of Jefferson County for tire shredding equipment. You have all the information in front of you. In your packet. First is, yep.
Okay. All right, real quick rundown on this. The first two items are replacement shredders for the main grinder. Number one is a mirror of 7908. On the price there, the only thing that we don't have are prices on the electrical installation. And that is because Anderson Electric is going out. And the individual that does work for them, he doesn't have the infrastructure to install. So I would have to go out to bid on any electrical installation. Okay, so I don't have those figures yet. Item number two, though it is cheaper, the knives are cheaper, but it's slower. It's not as big. That is through CM shredders. You have to feed it one at a time on the tires. And then you see at the bottom, those are two pieces of equipment that will produce a chip smaller than 1 inch. Okay, so that was the request from Jefferson County to price those machines, and you have that information there in front of you.
And you have the motion that is table you go in the public state.
That's okay. Making that to the chair. That's to the chairman.
Motion to table this the next meeting. Did we look at a little bit more?
Yes.
I'll second.
Your second? There's been a motion and a second to table this to the next meeting. That way everybody get a good look at this. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Next is need a motion and a second to approve the recycling grant for City of Warren.
I was just gonna say, Judge McKinney knows all about it, okay?
Yeah, I spoke with Judge McKinney and I spoke with Rob Johnson. Everything is in place on the grant. They got everything. Judge McKinney has signed off on it. So now it's before you, the board.
Okay. Use it.
I move the acceptance of the free recycling grant application. Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Okay, next stated meeting will be June the 9th at Pine Bluff here, probably here. Okay.
One more item. I'm sorry, Judge.
Where will we open up this facility at? Or if we open it here, we will also be offering a training facility next to the site or somewhere around there. So we will be bringing in people who are open in California, wherever else to come into that area. So we can train them. And it's about 6 to 8 months training for their, so it's children.
Okay. Need a motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor? All opposed?
Everyone
Y'all
calm
be
down.
careful going home.